always look on the bright side of life.
Hi, I'm Cara Augustenborg. I'm with Friends of the Earth Ireland, and I'm here at Carrickdora Farm with our garden designer, Suzie Cahn. Suzie is designing the Friends of the Earth Bright Side of Life garden at Bloom in the Park this June 1st through 5th at Phoenix Park. So we're out in the circle garden at Carrickdora, and we just came out here to see what nature-friendly gardening really means. And actually, we're surrounded by wildflowers, and there's all sorts of different bees around us, bees that I haven't actually seen in my own garden. So tell us, Suzie, you have been to Bloom, you know what it's like. What can we expect?
So Bloom is a really active, engaged audience of gardeners who come for the 5 days of Bloom. They can look at designer gardens, they can buy plants, and there's huge numbers of people come through and they eat and they access Irish produce, and they, it's really family day out usually. And so I've been there a couple of times doing nature-friendly school gardens and productive gardens to promote school gardening for Bord Bia. And it's lovely to have a space that you can engage with the public who may have heard or seen something that you're doing before, or quite often at Bloom they may not have. They could have just got a piece of garden that they're thinking of doing something with, or maybe they have previously had just a very easily maintained space and they've decided they're going to try to grow something. So it's lovely for talking to people about nature-friendly gardening and productive spaces.
I saw Suzie on RTE Super Garden talking about permaculture in 2015, and I always thought if Friends of the Earth was at Bloom, which I always wanted Friends of the Earth to be at Bloom, I think they're people who go to Bloom are also people who would like Friends of the Earth and what we do. I thought, I've got to call Suzie and ask her, would she help us? And thank God, I was so grateful when I wrote to you and said, would you be interested in helping us design a garden, that you said yes right away. Tell us, what can we expect from our Bright Side of Life nature garden?
Mm-hmm. So this garden is a postcard garden, and at Bloom you have the big designer gardens, you sometimes have something like the school gardens, but the postcard gardens really give an opportunity for organisations to come and engage on a much smaller space. So the space that I had to design is a little bit wider than a single bed maybe. So what and your focus and your request to me was to engage people in thinking about the environment in a direct way in a garden. And so the nature-friendly gardening, works really well. And I think the other thing, that the opportunity that Friends of the Earth see in promoting the National Pollinator Plan, at the moment is really, catching the public's imagination. So that's really what I had to work with in this small space and those focuses. So what I've created is really the environment in which pollinators in particular can thrive. But the thing is that in nature it's all connected, and that's really one of the messages of the garden, is that while one of the things that I've planted is these 2 large planters filled with pollinator attracting annuals, a little bit of perennial plantings, and some then some container garden scale of herbs and other kinds of blossoming shrubs and plants that are good for nature. And specifically good for pollinators. And then the second thing is to understand that what makes really healthy plants, in a really healthy ecosystem, is 2 other ingredients, and that is soil and water. So I decided that I'd actually make the interior of the planters see-through. We'll be able to see the connection between the healthy root system, the living earth, and it really is living. It's filled with bacteria and mycorrhizal, fungi and earthworms and centipedes and all those kind of things, that are giving life to the flowers, that is then giving life to the bees, that then pollinate our fruit crops. And and then the one other little element that I'm putting into the garden is like a pond in miniature, a small kind of freshwater fish tank with the kinds of pond life that you would see, because that's the other ingredient. Healthy soil, healthy water, then the sunlight can be captured by these plants, opening up to the bees and the pollinators, and in our cycle really, and makes us all be able to live on this planet very healthily.
Right. So that's it of our tour of Carrickdora Farm and all the information that our garden designer Suzie Cahn has given us. I hope you learned a lot. I know I did. did. Thank you all for volunteering to help us with Bloom. We've had just a huge amount of support from all of you. We really appreciate it. Thank you for those of you who have donated. We're really close to funding the full build for Bloom now, and I can't wait to work with you at Bloom in the Park, June 1st through the 5th at Phoenix Park.